Today's a WRAL weather alert day for extreme heat that we'll see today and, of course, ongoing. It's likely that we're going to feel more like 105 to 110 this afternoon. I'll walk you through what you'll feel as you head outside.
Plus, yeah, it'll be a battling the heat. You just heard Elizabeth. We have 3 straight days forecast to reach at least 100 degrees. The steps you can take to stay safe and hydrated while you're outside.
And on alert, it's been more than 37 hours since the U.S. struck Iran. Now officials are waiting for a response. Next, we have the latest from the Middle East.
A heat advisory now in effect for the entire viewing area. This is a live look at temperatures from across the triangle. The heat is expected to get even more intense in the coming days. It's why we have declared today through Wednesday WRAL weather alert days. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Look at some of those numbers out there right now. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Heat index values could reach close to 110 degrees this week. We have live team coverage for you, staying on top of this extreme heat with WRAL's Carly Haynes live at Chavis Park in Raleigh. First up, though, we check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
And here's what we're looking at with our WRAL weather alert day. Our peak heat index, 104 to 113. We've already hit 102 at RDU. We're going to see this most of the week. We have 3 weather alert days today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Those are likely to be the hottest days, but we'll still have intense heat for Thursday into the weekend, and that counts for all of central North Carolina, our entire viewing area. Today we're under a heat advisory, and then there's an extreme heat watch for tomorrow and Wednesday. And the Weather Service at some point will either upgrade that to an extreme heat warning or to a heat advisory, and when they do, we'll let you know where you fall. Here's a look at downtown Raleigh. Lots of haze. I was out just a little while ago. It gets hazy when it's hot like this and there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. 94 is our current temperature, so it's warming up fast, and that dew point at 72 makes it feel very muggy. That makes it very hard for your body to cool itself. So it feels like 102 in Durham and Raleigh. The heat index is the box on the right. So 100 Southern Pines, 104, Clinton 100, Rocky Mount already 106 in South Hill. And coming up, we're going to talk about where we're headed for the rest of the day with that heat index, and we'll walk through the heat index for the next several days. Today, if we hit that 100 around 4 o'clock, it'll be the first 100-degree day of the year. I'll show you how many more are in our forecast.
3 days of triple-digit temperatures, and families are having to find some pretty creative ways to stay cool. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live at Chavis Park in Raleigh right now. Carly, with this kind of heat, it only takes a few minutes before it can actually become dangerous.
Right, and to demonstrate that, I want to show you some tools that we have on hand right now. So first of all, we have this, which looks like a key fob, but this is actually just a miniature thermometer, and it's reading right around 99 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But then we have this, and this is the temperature gun that can actually read the temperature of surfaces. And when we do that, it's coming back to be 112 degrees Fahrenheit. So you think about all these kids and all these families that are playing around in these splash pads, and they don't have shoes on. They could be walking around on this really hot pavement. So it's something to keep in mind for just how hot it is today. Families are certainly taking advantage of ways to stay cool. This splash pad is just filled with kids and their parents, and parents are describing these temperatures as, quite frankly, unbearable.
Oh my gosh, it's just hot and sticky and overwhelming. It was over 80 by like 7 o'clock in the morning, which is just ridiculous.
The humidity. Yeah, my 4-year-old, when we walked outside, she said, "Mom, it feels like it's raining." It's just that humid out here.
So as you said, it only takes a few minutes, right, for this to become dangerous. And we talked to UNC Health. UNC Health said they are prepared for more heat-related problems to be coming into their emergency departments over the next few days. And then from here, we're actually going to go speak with Wake County EMS about what they have already seen so far. We're going to bring that to you at 4 o'clock and 5:30. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And we are learning more about 5 people hurt on a flight to RDU. This happened on an American Airlines flight that took off from Miami. According to American Airlines, the flight experienced unexpected turbulence. It landed at RDU about 11:30 last night. 3 flight attendants and 2 passengers were taken to a hospital. American Airlines says the seatbelt sign was on when the aircraft encountered that turbulence.
Raleigh police are looking for a person who stabbed 3 men outside a Raleigh nightclub. It happened around 2 this morning. Ali Kadlubar was at that scene on New Hope Church Road in the WRAL breaking news tracker with more on this investigation.
Yes, for about 3 hours this morning, police blocked off this parking lot and entrance where 3 people were stabbed. They investigated and tried to find the person who did it. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker around 3 a.m. There was heavy police presence, officers blocking the road, and an ambulance leaving the scene. Police say they found 2 men with stab wounds in front of the nightclub on New Hope Church Road. They found another man hurt a block away. Police tell me the victim's injuries were not deadly. But we are still working to find out if the suspect has been arrested and what led up to this stabbing. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Kadlubar, WRAL News.
This morning, a family in Johnston County woke up to this, a truck in their home. The WRAL breaking news tracker took this video on NC Highway 96 just north of Selma after midnight. The brick home was pushed away from its foundation, leaving it heavily damaged and deemed unsafe by building inspectors. The driver was taken to the hospital. Highway Patrol charged the driver with DWI, an open container violation, reckless driving, and failure to maintain lane control.
Last month, the ex-wife of civil rights leader Reverend Bishop Barber accused him of using a nonprofit's funds for alimony payments. New this morning, that nonprofit says the findings from an internal investigation refute those allegations. WRAL's Chris Levengood looked into how that conclusion was made. And Chris, it was Lena Tillett who received confirmation about that just hours ago.
You know, she did, Jeff. She received a statement from Repairs of the Breach. That's the nonprofit group that Barbara leads. It was founded a decade ago to fight illegal policies affecting labor, voting, LGBTQ, and healthcare rights, among other things. The nonprofit says an independent internal investigation found, quote, no evidence to support allegations that Reverend Barber improperly used or directed organizational funds for personal benefit. The nonprofit hired a law firm to take into account these allegations, to look into it from Barber's ex-wife, Rebecca Barber. And the organization also said all money Barber received and sent out were in line with his salary. The statement emphasized no one person in that organization has unchecked power regarding money that the organization handles. Now, given this is a statement from the organization Reverend Barber founded, well, we reached out to Rebecca Barber's lawyer for comment for this, but at last check, we have not heard back.
Ken Smith here in the WRAL Live Center with the up-to-the-minute developments and the new developments in the Iran-Israeli conflict as we take a live look at Tel Aviv at this hour. Just before we came on the air, Air France joining a list of airlines suspending all flights to Tehran. Also, a new round of Israeli attacks targeting military and nuclear sites in Iran. We get more from Julia Benbrook.
President Donald Trump announced that the United States attacked 3 key nuclear facilities in Iran.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
During his White House address following Operation Midnight Hammer, with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth standing behind him, Trump warned that the U.S. could launch more strikes.
If peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
While the president says Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been, quote, completely and totally obliterated, a full impact assessment is still ongoing.
Final battle damage will take some time, but initial battle damage assessments indicate that all 3 sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction.
Trump's senior officials have repeatedly said the mission was not about a regime change in Iran. But in a post Sunday evening, Trump alluded to the possibility, writing, quote, it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?
There's Julia Benbrook reporting there, and have a look at stocks this noon, because first day of trading week with everything that happened over the weekend could be time for some volatility. But all 3 major indices are in positive territory, just marginally, 15 points up for the Dow Jones. NASDAQ is up over 50, and S&P 500 is just above water there.
AAA actually released new gas price data today. They're reporting an increase over the last week. The national average is around $3.22. Here in North Carolina, gas has crept up about 7 cents since last week. The current statewide average is around $2.93 a gallon.
Wolfspeed revealed its plan to reorganize under bankruptcy protection. The company says the plan would wipe out roughly 70% of its $6.5 billion overall debt. The proposal would give Wolfspeed's creditors control of the company. Now, CEO Robert Furley says Wolfspeed's biggest lenders are already on board with this. He's confident others will join. If Wolfspeed's proposal is approved, Furley believes the company will emerge from Chapter 11 bankruptcy by the end of September and be in a strong position at that point. The company has struggled for several reasons: lower demand for semiconductors and the company moving to newer manufacturing facilities. And the Trump administration is opposed to the Biden-era CHIPS and Science Act. The company's share price has dropped 96% over the past year.
Next at noon, 9 months after Hurricane Helene, Chimney Rock is back open this week. The plan to get people through the popular state park there.
Also making deals through secondhand stores, how to safely navigate those online marketplaces.
Plus, Wake County pool inspections, how likely it is that your pool is not up to date.
Our new news continues right now with a deadly shooting from over the weekend in Durham. Take a look at your screen. This was the scene in the 1100 block of Linwood Avenue Saturday night. A short time ago, Durham police announcing the arrest of 51-year-old Montgomery Davis. He's charged with the murder of 32-year-old La Brea Street. Police say she died at the scene from a gunshot wound. Davis faces numerous charges, including murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Davis is being held in the Durham County Detention Center without bond, awaiting his first court appearance.
The search for 2 missing boaters in Lake Tahoe has been called off. 6 people were killed after their boat capsized near D.L. Bliss State Park. This was during a powerful thunderstorm Saturday afternoon. 10 people were on board. 2 were rescued and taken to a hospital. Divers searched the area over the weekend for the other 2 people. After a 12-hour effort, it was suspended.
The U.S. Senate is expected to take up President Donald Trump's spending bill this week. Lawmakers are expected to hold a test vote on the president's plan, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill. This spending plan extends tax cuts from his first term and increases funding for defense and border security. But the controversial part of this plan, deep cuts to federal spending and changes to Medicaid. It is unclear if the U.S. military attack in Iran over the weekend will affect the plans to take up the bill.
The U.S. Supreme Court is preparing to release some significant opinions this week. The outstanding cases include major decisions on birthright citizenship, LGBTQ books in schools, Planned Parenthood funding, access to porn sites, and much more. The court is expected to release opinions Thursday, and court watchers say the justices will need at least one other day and possibly several more to finish the work.
A beloved state park is reopening to the public this week. Hurricane Helene devastated Chimney Rock State Park almost 9 months ago. The popular tourist destination in western North Carolina is reopening on Friday. A soft opening was held over the weekend for a select few. Justin Berger talked with state park employees ahead of this week's opening.
At 8:30 Saturday morning, a message 9 months in the making.
I think that we all kind of got goosebumps when, we made the call to open the gate.
Chimney Rock State Park is open. Well, sort of. It's a soft opening for annual pass holders unable to access the park since Helene.
A lot of our pass holders that came today have not been in the area at all until today, and it felt right to reconnect with them.
I've come up here and walked these trails and since I was a kid, and not having that draw, has been really, really tough on the people in the area.
Matt Mitchell and Laura Doster are part of the Gorge's recovery. They helped set up the Foundation for Lake Lure Chimney Rock Area Businesses, a 501c3. Their foundation just got $10,000 from the Giving Friends Foundation. They have 25 grant applications already.
We're about rebuilding so that it can open and thrive. Not so much recovery, but to give them funds, that they don't have to pay back.
Everybody has been working together since the very start of this, and the recovery effort has turned to the rebuilding effort, and I think it speaks for itself when you drive down there and see all the volunteers and all the different agencies working together.
The hope, as the park goes, so too do surrounding Chimney Rock Village and Lake Lure.
And the park being open is huge for us, and I know there's businesses in the village that are talking about opening in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So,
if nothing more than symbolizes, hey, we're starting to get things back to normal. Tags from out of state that usually annoy us by driving so slow are now like, hey, glad to see you.
And that was Justin Berger reporting. Advance reservations are required and capacity is limited as recovery efforts continue there. You will be able to book your park reservation starting today on chimneyrockpark.com.
Good to see them start to thrive.
Yes.
Once again, get back in. I've been through so much. Elizabeth Gardner over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. The mountains don't seem like a bad place to be to cool off a little bit.
It's kind of a win-win. You know, they need all of us to go and spend our tourism dollars there, and we need to get out of the heat. This intense heat will stay with us not just today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, but all the way into the weekend. So looking at highs around 96 to 102, and that does not take into consideration the heat index. And this is going to be with us all week. The temperatures may be a little bit hotter for the next 3 days, but we're still talking about upper 90s for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Today we have a heat advisory that's in effect for a heat index at 104 to 109, and there's an extreme heat watch in effect for Tuesday and Wednesday. What does that mean? It means the Weather Service is just waiting to gather a little bit more information before they make the decision. Will it be an extreme heat warning tomorrow and Wednesday, or will it be a heat advisory? And it may be that parts of the viewing area split. And so as soon as we know, we'll let you know. This is a great time to continue to check in with us as we have changing situations happening. It's hot out there. There are people walking around here on Fayetteville Street, but not a whole lot of them. It's hazy out there. And of course, our temperature is already at 94 and our dew point is 72. That 72 means that it's very, very muggy out there. So it feels like 102 in Durham and Raleigh, 100 in Rocky Mount, 102 Goldsboro, 106 in Clinton. Why do we use the heat index to describe how it feels? Well, the way our bodies work is you sweat and then that sweat evaporates, and that's how we cool things. You know, dogs pant, we sweat, and we have the evaporation. But there's a lot of moisture already in the atmosphere. There's nowhere for that sweat to evaporate to, and it doesn't evaporate, and then your body just doesn't cool itself as well. And this is a reflection of how it feels to us when there's so much moisture in the atmosphere. 100 for today and tomorrow in Durham and Raleigh, 100, 101 in Fayetteville. Why are we so hot? It's a high pressure system sitting over us. High pressure systems bring sinking air. That sinking air compresses and warms when it compresses, and it's just not going anywhere. Just this big heat dome sitting right over us and just getting hotter and hotter. Now, once you get to Wednesday, we'll actually see a low pressure system that ducks under that high and gives us a small chance for some thunderstorms, and we're going to talk more about that in just a little while. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, all weather alert days. 108 is likely to be what we'll top out with in terms of the heat index today. 113 tomorrow and 107 Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, it still could be 103 to 105, so at least one of those days could still be a weather alert day. How about records? The record's 100. We're looking at 100 today, so we could tie it. 99 is the record for tomorrow. We'll probably bust that one with 102, and then potentially tying that record of 100 for Wednesday. How about the temperatures inside a car? That's one of the ways that people tend to get into trouble, is just forgetting that you have, you know, your pets or your children in the car. And with a 100-degree day like today, in 10 minutes, your car feels like 119. In 30 minutes, it feels like 134. So it doesn't take much time at all. I recommend putting something in your front seat that reminds you that your pet or your child is in the car, so you know to take them out with you. The other thing that you need to realize is the impact of high heat is cumulative. If you're somebody who has to work outside, maybe you did fine today, maybe you're fine tomorrow, and then Wednesday, your body just can't take it any longer. Notice we put thunderstorms on the forecast starting Wednesday through the weekend. Coming up, we'll talk about our chances for storms and severe weather.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Scams everywhere. A new report found that 96% of people are now targeted by scam calls, emails, and texts every day. This afternoon at 4, find out which scams you are most likely to see this year so you do not become a victim.
Then at 6, hot car dangers. Elizabeth just talking about this. We're experiencing the dangerous heat this week. So while the temperature outside gets hot, the inside of your car is getting even hotter. We take a look at just how hot that is and share what you need to know to stay cool and safe. still ahead this noon. Safe shopping websites like Facebook, Marketplace, Craigslist, OfferUp. They make it easy to buy, sell, and trade items. But next, 5 on Your Side shares what you need to know to stay safe when making those in-person exchanges.
And billions of passwords leaked. A data breach hits Apple, Google, Facebook, and more. What you need to know if your information was leaked. With tariffs affecting the price of new goods, owners of secondhand stores say more customers are turning to them and websites like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and OfferUp. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur shares 5 steps to take when making a transaction.
Whether you're looking for clothing, furniture, computers, really anything, you can find it online secondhand. But remember, buying and selling this way doesn't afford you the same protections that a traditional store does. So I want you to follow these steps. First, inspect the cash. A recent study estimates there's more than $15 million worth of counterfeit bills circulating right now. So I want you to do something called tilt the note.
In the corner, it has the amount of the note right here. You can see the 10, the 20, the 50, and the 100. You can't fake that. Here it looks gold, correct? And I hope you can get this on the camera. When you turn it 45 degrees, it turns green.
If it's green, it means the cash is authentic. But if you can, avoid paying with paper bills altogether and instead use a payment app, something like Apple Pay, Venmo, or Cash App. Those usually afford you a few more protections. Next, meet at a safe location. A police station is really an ideal spot. And never give away personal information, even your email address. And finally, there are really some products that you should just flat out avoid buying secondhand. Things like car seats, bike helmets, or anything else that really requires safety. You can check the latest recalls on recalls.gov. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, just a short time ago today, the U.S. Supreme Court denying R. Kelly's appeal. Here's what the appeal was all about. R. Kelly was claiming prosecutors stretched the law in securing racketeering and sex trafficking convictions against him. Well, today, the Supreme Court refused to hear that appeal. Kelly is serving time at the Butner Correctional Facility in Granville County.
Ken, thanks for that update. A massive data breach has exposed 16 billion passwords. Login credentials from Google, Facebook, Apple, and countless other services are affected by this. According to the website Cyber News, records from more than 30 databases were stolen, and each has up to 3.5 billion passwords from social media, VPN logins, corporate platforms. Cybersecurity experts say the best way to keep your account secure is to enable two-factor authentication and change passwords if your account was exposed. About half of Americans say they need to make 6 figures in order to feel financially secure, with more than a quarter saying they need to make at least $150,000 a year. It's nearly double what the average full-time worker made in 2023, according to the latest financial freedom survey from Bankrate. A majority of people don't feel completely secure, including a third who believe they'll never achieve complete financial freedom. Almost half say achieving the American dream isn't possible in today's economy.
Coming up, warming up. The first heat wave of the summer is here. How you can stay safe while you're outside.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day due to this extreme heat.
Yeah, our heat index will feel like 104 to 109 this afternoon. It is no joke. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how long this heat wave is going to last, Elizabeth.
It's likely to last all the way into the weekend, but it will gradually begin to taper off somewhat. We have a heat advisory that's in effect for today. That lasts all the way into Tuesday morning, Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, we're under an extreme heat watch. That means the Weather Service is just trying trying to decide, kind of gather more information to see whether or not they're going to put part of the viewing area under an extreme heat warning or another heat advisory. So as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Be sure to check in with us at 4 o'clock, and then through all of our evening newscasts, Kat and Mike will have the latest. Right now, if you're about to head out the door, we are already in the triple digits almost everywhere. It's 97 in Roxborough, but 100 in Rocky Mount, 102 Goldsboro, 100 Fayetteville, 100 Southern Pines. And we won't get to the highest heat index of the day until around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're looking for about 100 degrees at 4 o'clock. It'll be the first 100-degree day of the year. We tend to average only one of those per year. Some years we don't have any. We're about to see 3 in a row the next 3 days.
My goodness. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. So now you know the temperatures will be around the 100-degree mark for the next few days. You should have a game plan to stay safe in this extreme heat. WRAL's Laura Levine explains what people should keep in mind as temperatures climb throughout the morning and the afternoon.
On a nice summer day like today, many people are eager to get out, maybe enjoy some local parks like Lake Johnson here, enjoying some of the water activities. But it's really important to know that once the temperatures reach more than 90 degrees, heat illness is a serious threat. Health experts recommend limiting your time outdoors, especially exercising between the hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Get out early to exercise. I'm usually here by the time the sun comes up, and there's a ton of people out here doing the same thing.
Heat stroke, heat cramps, and heat exhaustion are possible with prolonged exposure or physical activity. It takes longer for sweat to cool us off when it's this humid outside.
I've just been more conscious of making sure I'm bringing water. I didn't do that yesterday, but I got to share with a friend. And then just going out in the afternoons, just making sure it's a little bit later most of the time, just to not have heat exhaustion. But just being aware of the time outside and how the heat does affect you.
So it's important to know the effects of heat are cumulative day to day. So it's important to stay hydrated now before it really begins to impact your body. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And as our weather team tracks the temperatures, you can follow along on the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download and use. Make sure to turn on push notifications so you can get all of the important weather notifications sent right to your home screen.
Happening this week, Wake County school leaders expect to discuss and vote on a school meal price hike. The school board has been raising meal prices each year as the cost of services have risen. Some school board members have said they do not want to raise the prices, but are willing to consider it. Now, it would raise the price 25 cents per meal. That would be about $44 more per student year per student if they buy only lunch every day. A work session is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at 2:30, and the meeting and vote starts at 5:30.
Nearly 1 in 10 public pools in Wake County does not have an up-to-date safety inspection. WRAL Investigates found some of them are open anyway. Sarah Kruger joins us live now in Morrisville to tell us about that and her story that airs tonight at 6. Sarah, this is concerning.
Michelle, this story turned into something we were not anticipating when I unexpectedly uncovered some pretty high traffic pools here in Wake County were open without active permits.
How important do you think it is that pools are checked every year?
I think it's so important. There are so many waterborne sicknesses, and especially with smaller kids like what I have, the water's getting in their mouth, and it's just so important that they are as safe as can be.
And inspections are required by the county. They involve checking for really important things like chemical levels and checking that emergency equipment is functioning.
Have you ever thought to check a pool's inspection online before you go?
No, I think I just assume that if they're open, that they're doing what they need to do.
Tonight at 6, WRAL Investigates will make sure you know how to check pools' inspection status. We'll share what else we've found in our digging and the steps that have been taken to address the issues that we expose. Now, on a hot day today, like today, of course, many of you probably are thinking about getting in pools. We will make sure you know how to do so safely. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
A new WRAL documentary investigates the alarming trend of cancer happening more often in young people. Diagnosis Young, the new face of cancer in North Carolina, explores who this is happening to and why. The WRAL documentary team interviewed patients in remission and those fighting cancer right now. They also interviewed doctors and researchers about possible causes from environmental exposures to ultra-processed food.
And you have to believe that there's an environmental influence. So you really think food is a big one?
It's hard to ignore.
And doctors explain the research happening in North Carolina to uncover the answers. Diagnosis Young, the new face of cancer in NC, premieres Thursday, 7:30 on WRAL, WRAL's streaming platforms, and the WRAL YouTube channel. With no time to think, a pregnant mom jumped into action to save her toddler after her truck burst into flames.
And insect repellents and sunscreen are at the top of the list right now, but some get the job done better than others. We'll tell you what to look out for. And for news, traffic, and weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app. This massive fire was captured on a highway in Columbus, Ohio, after a fuel tanker overturned. You can see the plume of black smoke rising from Interstate 270. Authorities say the tanker was carrying more than 8,000 gallons of fuel when it crashed. The driver is in the hospital recovering. The cause of the crash is under investigation. A new video shows twin water spouts off Florida's Gulf Coast. Take a look at the funnels here, captured near Anna Maria Island. Water spouts are somewhat common in Florida, but double spouts are a more rare sight.
A pregnant mother in Washington springs into action to save her son from a burning car. Juliana Magliano had just pulled over on the side of the highway and her truck suddenly caught on fire. She said she only had minutes to react and save her 3-year-old son, who was strapped in a car seat in the back.
I didn't even have time to think, really. I was just kind of in shock, but scared at the same time.
Man, she says she does not know what started the fire, but she and her son are both doing good after the incident.
Well, repellent risks. Before you lather on that sunscreen or spray up for bugs, listen up. Some products could be doing more harm than good. What to look out for before your next outdoor adventure.
And heat and humidity coming up. WRAL's Chris Michaels explains one way meteorologists are tracking the heat and why it's so important. That's ahead on today's Ask the Meteorologist.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, a popular Raleigh bar finds a new location after a fire. Take a look at what we're talking about. This is a fire that happened back in January that destroyed the House of Art in Raleigh. Well, on Instagram, the owners of the House of Art announcing they have found a new location here in Raleigh. No word on where the location is, but it appears they will be keeping the public informed as the new location gets closer to reopening. Police arrested a 59-year-old woman seen on security camera just minutes before that fire started. That woman was convicted of arson. Of course, we will keep you posted about the new location of the House of Art reopening here in Raleigh very soon.
All right, insect repellents and sunscreen can be pivotal, quite pivotal during these summer months, but not all are the same. Health experts say it is important to protect your skin from harmful ultraviolet rays and insect bites, but try avoiding harmful chemicals. For starters, UV protective clothing and hats can be worn to cover a bulk of the body while outside. But for any exposed skin, doctors say mineral sunscreens are the best option. If you do choose to opt for an aerosol sunscreen, use caution with that.
Because that could cause a potential risk for inhalation, which could cause respiratory irritation. As a mom, I prefer to use either a cream or lotion-based sunscreen.
And as for chemical bug repellents, doctors say that they're a no-go for kids under 6 months of age. Instead, parents should use nets over those strollers. And for kids under the age of 3, repellents should contain less than 10% of the chemical DEET.
The heat index is something that we often talk about during heat waves, but there is something else that can help you make decisions. Meteorologist Chris Michaels explains what the wet bulb globe temperature is and how high it gets this week.
We always use the heat index, and of course that's useful, but the wet bulb globe temperature takes a lot more into account, including sunlight. So I took some crayons, put it in the direct sunlight yesterday, and while the experiment wasn't a total success, you do see how those darker colors were melting more quickly. That's because darker surfaces like blacktop and concrete, they absorb most of the incoming light and incoming heat, whereas lighter surfaces reflect more of it. That's why in the wintertime on a sunny day, you almost feel like you're getting blinded, and that's why we tell you to wear those lighter colors as opposed to darker t-shirts. I'm kind of bummed. I've got a bunch of metal band shirts. I can't wear them on these next few days. It's just going to be too hot. Let's talk about that wet bulb globe temperature. It takes into account, of course, the temperature and the humidity, but it's measured in the sun. It takes into account wind and cloud cover, whereas the heat index, all it takes into account is the shade, the temperature, and the humidity. In fact, the North Carolina High School Athletics Association uses this wet bulb globe temperature to measure the heat stress on athletes. And when you take that measurement between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. today through Friday, it's recommended that practice gets suspended. So that may actually help you guys as you make your plans for the next few days.
That counts day after day after day. Also, it builds up. Covering Wake County this week, there will be some reprieve from the hot weather with local cooling stations available through at least Wednesday, depending on the forecast. The cooling stations are located at libraries, regional centers, and health and human service offices. Several other counties in the viewing area have also opened cooling stations.
Yeah, those cooling stations are going to be super important for people that don't have access to air conditioning regularly because it is just going to be so hot. You need to hydrate, Elizabeth, and spend as little time outside as you can.
And that's why I'm showing you Lake Gaston. I just saw somebody in a boat cruising on by. You know, it's fine to get out on the boat or be at the pool in the morning, but really once we hit 1 o'clock, everybody really needs to be inside. It's really still not even safe if you're out here on the water. It's just too hot. So everybody, especially today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, when we have these extreme heat indices, you really just need to, once we hit lunchtime, just head on inside. 100 right now in Southern Pines and Fayetteville. That's what it feels like. It feels like 108 in Clinton and 102 in Goldsboro, 100 in Rocky Mount, 104 in South Hill, and 102 here in the Triangle. So again, very hot, and we still have multiple hours of heating to go. It will likely feel more like 108 to maybe even as high as 110 in some places. We talked about this a little while ago, but again, it's this high pressure system that is covering the eastern part of the country. High pressure systems have air that is sinking. That sinking air compresses and heats, and it creates this big heat dome, and that's affecting so much of the eastern part of the country. So in the next 7 days, we'll see highs anywhere from 96 to 102. And then, of course, the heat index on top of that. This is a look at our hour by hour heat index for the rest of the day. And here's something that maybe you don't realize. I think a lot of people think, oh, when I get home from work, it'll be fine, right? This is 6 o'clock at 107. This is 7 o'clock at 106. We don't get out of the triple digits in terms of the heat index until we hit 10 p.m. And at that point, it's 99. We really don't start to feel much of a change until closer to midnight. So we just aren't seeing our temperatures cooling down very quickly at night. So again, early morning hours are going to be really your only bet for getting anything done outside safely. Heat advisory today, extreme heat watch for tomorrow and Wednesday. That just means the Weather Service is still collecting information and will decide whether it will be an extreme heat warning or heat advisory or a combination of both across our viewing area. 108 is about where we'll top out today in the Triangle. 113 for tomorrow. This is the heat index. 107 Wednesday, 105 Thursday, and Friday's has dropped down a little bit. So maybe, if it drops down to 103, we'll be out of the advisories. You're still going to have to walk the dog this evening, right? And it's going to be so hot out there. Make sure you're sticking to the grass. The concrete, even right after work, will still feel like 120 degrees. And of course, on the asphalt, it'll feel like 145. So those paws, it'll be rough on those paws. So make sure you're walking in the grass. Now, our next weather maker is a low that's going to cut underneath the heat dome, and it's going to bring us a small chance for showers and thunderstorms. It's really not going to cool us off very much, but it does bring us some rain. Those of you who've been here for a while, if you get a little bit of rain, sometimes it just feels even steamier. 30% chance Wednesday and Thursday, 20% chance on Friday. It's not going to be enough where you're going to need to or be able to stop watering, but there is a level 1 risk for severe storms on Wednesday from the Triangle area southward. A few cells that pop up could produce some wind damage. And for the first time, we have a 70% chance chance of a tropical system developing in the Atlantic. It is headed out into the Atlantic and away from air, but it's been away from the coast. But it's been a very slow start to the tropical season. Notice once we get out of the triple digits, we're still in the upper 90s Thursday all the way through Sunday. So again, this heat sticks around for quite some time.
All right, Elizabeth, thanks for that. Cosmic Captures, the largest camera ever built. Look at these pictures. Goodness, it released its first space images.
How scientists plan to use the same technology to change your view of the universe. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we are following today. Raleigh police are searching for a suspect who stabbed 3 men this morning. It happened on New Hope Church Road near a nightclub. Police say their injuries were not deadly. We are still working to find out what led to that stabbing.
A man has been arrested in connection to a deadly shooting in Durham over the weekend. 51-year-old Montgomery Davis is charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He's accused of killing 32-year-old La Brea Street. The shooting happened just after 11 Saturday night on the 1100 block of Linwood Avenue. Davis is being held in Durham County Jail under no bond.
And a reminder, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are all WRAL weather alert days due to the dangerous heat. Our weather team is forecasting all 3 days to reach 100 degrees in the Triangle. Remember to drink plenty of water and limit your time outside.
He didn't stop turnout for this year's Out Raleigh Pride Festival. Thousands made it out to that event on Fayetteville Street Saturday. This was the 13th year this festival has been held in downtown Raleigh. Money raised from this year's Pride Festival helps to support the LGBTQ Center of Raleigh.
And take a look at this. These are newly released images of space from the largest camera ever built. They're from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile. The test images show light from millions of stars and galaxies. Observatory says its mission is to create a time-lapse record of the universe over a period of 10 years. That is so beautiful. Looks fake.
This is a neat start.
Yeah.
Today's pet of the day is Cabo. He is 3 years old, loves good lounge session, as you can tell. Whether it's on your couch or a cat tower. He gets along fine with other cats, loves spending time with other dogs as well. Older children are good as well. Set up a time with Safe Haven for Cats to meet Cabo. Their contact information is on the screen right there, and it'll be on our website as well.
Scams are everywhere. A new report found that 96% of people are now targeted by scam calls, emails, and texts regularly. This afternoon at 4, find out which scams you are most likely to see this year so you do not become a victim. Also, please remember, today is a WRAL weather alert day because of the extreme heat. Limit your time outdoors, drink plenty of water.
Yep. Be careful, stay weather aware.
Yes, NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day. Stay cool.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.